It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Time to talk cars for the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's automotive radio show, keeping you connected to the automotive world. Locally created, nationally celebrated, fun and exciting cars that we've been driving this week. The Dart Custom Collection, the Captain America, and more Harley-Davidson's information. Richard Jones is going to be here to talk about that. July 3rd is the big event in Gladstone to support the Randall Children's Hospital, and how you can join in and have the fun, listen, and find out. We also have the Camaro Club going to be here. Camaros, they want to play. James Dean is going to come in and talk to us about those. Yes, the actual James Dean from the Camaro Club, and how to be part of the amazing club, and the fact that they are going to be doing stuff with Latus and Harley-Davidson, a big festival together. Ryan got some product to talk about that he's been testing this week on the show. So let's start with car reviews. Brad, tell me what you have been driving.
I got a chance to finally get some seat time in the 2016 XC90, and the version I had was the plug-in hybrid.
North American car.
It won a bunch of awards, and I could see why. It was the saddest day when I had to give this back. But I worked on the original launch for this vehicle back in 2002, and it seemed really trend-setting to me back then. It was luxurious. It had 3 rows. It was a real crossover, fun to drive. But Volvo hit its peak with this in sales in 2005. But I think 2004, it was selling like 3,300 a month. And then they didn't really do much with it. And I think it got lapped by a whole bunch of other cars that I think had two different makeovers in that same amount of time. And it was relegated to kind of that thing we like to call consider status.
Right.
Other cars to consider.
Right.
So there'd be all these other vehicles, and then, you might want to consider the Volvo XC90 also. And sales plummeted. I mean, and they got down into the hundreds back in 2013. So it was ready for a remake. And in 2014, for a 2015 model year, they really blew up the market with this new vehicle. And again, like you said, it won all the awards. It won everything. And this particular vehicle with the plug-in hybrid puts it again at the top choice of vehicles. Now, it competes with the BMW X5 that's going to be coming out with their plug-in. Mercedes.
That's already here.
Yeah. But this is the only vehicle with 3 rows of seating. The others are 2 rows.
Luxury vehicle.
Luxury vehicles, yes.
Yeah, because the Outlander Sport.
Yeah.
The
Outlander, not the Sport, but yeah.
Plug-in PHEV, yeah.
So, but this has an electric range of 14 miles, combined of 53, gas only about 25, which is still pretty terrific for a big-size luxury SUV. Gas
only 25 miles a gallon?
Per gallon.
Or 25 miles?
Yeah, 25 miles total. Sorry, you get 1 tank of gas, or 1 gallon of gas. It has a complicated, maybe the best way, to the iPad system that you use, the Sensus system that they call, and it does combine kind of your state-of-the-art information and entertainment system.
So it's like an iPad long ways in there. I think it's 12 inches actually.
Correct.
So it's bigger than an iPad, and yes, everybody that's used it, the general line is it's complicated. And the price is pretty complicated too, isn't it?
Well, as we like to say from your countrymen, therein lies the rub. So $84,000 prices tested as you would load up the plug-in hybrid.
Pennies.
But it does start for a base model of the XC90 with the T5 front-wheel drive, $43,900, which is still a great bargain for this vehicle. The plug-in hybrid starts at $68,100, but you're going to load it up with a few other things, so you'll be in that $80,000 range.
It's like a Mercedes-Benz. People who buy them check every box.
It's one of the most comfortable vehicles you'll ever get in. Like, I would love to take those chairs and just make it my office chair.
Yeah, but I think the chairs are the same in the non-plug-in as they are in the plug-in.
I understand that in the plug-ins.
So you're going to have to be a real trendsetter person to up to the plug-in hybrid. But it did drive great, and the safety systems on this are typical Volvo. You could pretty much take your hands off the wheels driving up the freeway as you set the cruise control and the lane avoidance, I went like 5 or 6 miles and didn't even touch the steering wheel.
Which you need to when you're looking at the navigation system.
Because it takes so long to do it. All right, Sean.
But a spectacular car.
Sean, what have you been driving?
I had the Velociter R-Spec, and it's a 3-door hatch, and it's definitely a different looking car. So if you're wanting something that sticks out, this is it. Has a 1.6 liter twin squirrel turbocharger that has 201 horsepower, 6-speed manual. I mean, the car is really fun to drive. It's sporty, zippy around town, can corner. I'm just not a fan of how it actually looks.
Well, I think it's the best looking car.
Well, now, see, I was going to, this may be to the point, at risk of getting mail, it looked to me like a chick car.
Wait.
A chick
risk
car.
of getting mail?
Yeah. It looks like a chick car.
Just checking.
I like how it does. It sticks out. I mean, there is nothing that actually looks like it, but I don't know if I'm a fan of it because it's a hatchback, obviously, but it has its own little style to it.
It's based on, it's the same platform as the Kia Soul.
Yeah, I'd take a Kia Soul and not have as fun, but...
the thing that bugs me about it is the 2 doors on one side and the one on the other.
Yeah, and I actually looked at it and it's like, why not just make it a 4-door? You can make it a 4-door.
Because then we'd have nothing to talk about on the show.
Pretty much, yeah. But yeah, I mean, because sometimes that was my big fall with it. It was just the 3rd door, because sometimes I like to throw my backpack or throw whatever I'm carrying in the back seat, and I had to walk around the other side of the car to actually do it or flip my seat up.
Some beat counters said we put in one less door, we can save $50 a car.
Yeah,
or
probably more.
$300.
Yeah, like $1,000 a car or something.
It's also a little underpowered compared to its competition. I mean, a base Civic now is 200 horsepower, so you're talking, this is supposed to be their little race version. It's only 201, and it just feels heavier than the Civic.
It is old, though. I think that platform's been around for, what, 5 years?
5, 6 years, yeah. It's definitely up for a remake, but, I mean, it's fun to drive. If it was given to me, I'd own it, but I don't think I'd go out and actually purchase it.
Please tell me anyone in this room, if a car was given to you, you wouldn't own it.
There's a few that I wouldn't own, yes.
Really?
I'd turn around and try to sell it.
So most of us would just probably take it a car that was given to us. All right. So,
I mean, base price is $21,000, so it's still reasonably
miles per
priced.
gallon?
Miles per gallon is 25 and 33 on the highway.
Not too bad. I've been tootling around a whole bunch of cars this week, but I had like 5 different cars I've driven. So we had the opportunity to talk about 2 of them today, maybe just one. The 2016 Camaro SS. This is the remake, the 6th generation, 10 different colors, heated seat, steering wheel, airbag, lane changing assist, all of their things like park assist, electronic stability control, everything you'd expect in a modern car. V8, this thing is noisy, it's loud.
Everything you want in a Camaro.
It's a muscle car. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, but inside it's noisy. And it's not just the engine. It has a lot of road noise on the inside. And they lightened it by 390 pounds. And, I mean, you can tell that. It's built on the same platform as the ATS. But I think this is the same time that I've actually decided to spend a lot of time considering the car. I did drive it all the way from New Orleans to Houston and then on to Dallas just to sort of see how I felt about the car. And this second time around, and the manual's a little clunky, and it has that same thing where it pushes you from first into fourth sometimes if the revs are too high, where it has the automatic gear push. I don't like that.
I love it.
Do you?
I have it in my Camaro. It's a sport shift.
I find like if I want to go in a second, I want to go in a second.
So would you rather have the Mustang or the Challenger?
I'd have probably the Challenger. Still a fan of the Challenger, the Charger. I still think it's I mean, don't get me wrong. I really like the idea of the SS. I think it looks great. The 2 things I really hated about the car in the last generation, in the C5, were the visibility from the interior. You can never see the front fenders, which is always a huge problem for me.
That's like that with almost all the Camaros.
And the second one was the interior noise. Both of them they kept.
No.
The exterior they kept too.
They have a noise cancellation system.
Yeah, but it's the same as the Buick, and that's basically when they pump the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They take the noise, and it's like Bose canceling headphones. They send the same noise into the cabin. but it's still road noise. It's still loud. And I mean, I'm not sure whether this one had the noise canceling system on the inside of it or not. But I will tell you, it was a lot of fun to drive the car. I'm just not sure exactly whether I would buy it.
I saw one on the road the other day, and it's a head turner, though. I mean, it's a great looking vehicle.
We haven't even got to the positive parts of it. It definitely is a head turner. It's a good looking car. A lot of people like it. It was a lot of fun to drive. It's got a lot of muscle. It's got a lot of power. It's really hard not to spin the wheels. I mean, there is a lot going on there.
And trust me, you drive this to Vancouver, you're getting some attention.
Yeah, well, you get anything attention in Vancouver.
True.
$27,000 starting price, going up to $37,000. Would I own it? I don't know. I think I might own it, but it would be a battle out between that and the Challenger. It would be a tough one to go for. Camaro Club coming on later on. I'm sure I'll have answers to these questions. When we come back, we're going to start talking to Harley Davidson and some vroom vroom bikes, especially the one I've been riding. That's all coming up next on Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
I'll stay connected with the automotive world. You're listening to our car radio show, Test Miles. I'm your host, Nick Miles. Check out my article in yesterday's Oregonian about the Porsche Boxster 918. What a great car. Got to drive it from the guys. 718. It's the car that Sunset Porsche just got in. And Alex over there let me drive one. Alex and Nick let me drive one for a few hours. Oh, boy. If I had $90,000 right now, I wouldn't have it because I'd have given it away. All right, Jen, fun fact time.
Okay, the first fun fact of the day is in 2015, the two top-selling Harley-Davidson motorcycles was the XG500 and the FXSB.
Oh, wow, you got that out without stuttering. Go take a gold star. Have you ever heard about the Dark Custom Collection? I'm not talking about those magazines under your bed. I am talking about the motorcycles designed for power and retro look for 2016. A list of Dark Custom bikes, Harley-Davidson Street 750, which I happen to own, and the Iron 883, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of them. I will tell you that they are a lot. My bike, especially, is a lot of fun. Richard Jones is here from Team Latest, Harley-Davidson, to talk about these bikes. First of all, got to tell you, I have a lot of friends who ride Harleys. The two things about the Street 750, which is really interesting, really heavy, 500 pounds. It's just like 3 times my body weight, and it's hard to hold up if something, if you stop suddenly or whatever. Second thing is, my friends who own Harleys get on them and go, oh, it's like a circus bike. You're a little elf from the circus.
I think you need to just go to the gym because that bike's not that heavy.
Well, 500 pounds trying to hold it in one leg, I can tell you.
When you're 5'4".
Yeah, it's really hard.
Well, maybe we should get you some stilts or something.
Yeah, and so my friends who ride Harleys, they get on it and they go, ooh, that thing got some punch. It's a fast bike.
Yeah, the Street 750 and Street 500, what's really cool about them and why they're so neat and getting so much attention is that since the Evo platform, this is Harley's first liquid cooled bike, aside from the V-Rod, but it's geared for riding in an urban environment. The suspension is tuned for quick handling, and these bikes, people are doing amazing things with them. The flat track hooligan dashes, people are doing all amazing flat track Street 750 bikes. They're kind of light for a Harley too. So
it is. I think the one thing with it is because I'm so short. When that bike starts to tip, it's almost impossible for me to hold it. Like it's one of those bikes where if you stop suddenly on a hill. I remember I went for a test drive with your guy from Triumph, and as you come off the Gladstone exit there, if you're going northbound, the exit's on a curve. When I stopped and put my foot down, the bike was like, ooh, hi, how are you? I put engine guards on the bike, so I feel a bit better about it now. But it's 500 pounds to me is a lot of weight to hold with one leg.
Yeah, for sure. They're a great platform for customization too. And I mean, it seems like you've just dipped your toe in there. I'd like to see how much farther you're going to take it.
Well, you see, I have started to customize it. I mean, I'm buying little things for it, and so I got a lowered seat. And I got the engine guards, and now I've got some mirror extensions, just the basic things. But I spent my money in the beginning on the Captain America outfit. So I have the Captain America jacket, the Captain America shield. I have the Captain America helmet. You know, I just wanted people to take photographs of me. And I was running at 82nd and Clackamas, which seems to be working, by the way. Every time I take the car, I'm watching people lean out of the car windows and take pictures of me. That's the fun part. But I'm not quite sure what I want to do to it next. I have been shown some really interesting custom spring front ends where people have done like custom spring handlebars. I've seen some really interesting rear end stuff, mud guards, colored mud guards, tank, like covers for it that people have had specially made and specially designed. So I think I keep going in there and I keep sitting down and go, oh, what are we going to do next, kids?
Well, and that's a great thing about Harley Davidsons in general. I mean, the platform, like a Sportster, is just so you can do anything. You can build a cafe racer out of it. You could build a street tracker. You could build a bobber. And these Street 750 and Street 500s are kind of the same way. And people are really just starting to explore what you can do with them. I mean, they're fairly new bikes still, but people are doing neat stuff.
When I first got my endorsement, I went and got a 250, a Rebel, Honda Rebel, and it was like, it took me about a year to start to feel comfortable. Everybody, I did everything I was told. Go buy a small bike, go do the right thing, just ride it around, do 100 miles. So get used to it before you buy a bigger bike. This is actually, I feel a little bit too small for me now. Like, well, I'm like, I kind of want a bigger engine in it, but maybe I'll have to go and trade it in.
Well, the next step is a Softail Slim in the military colorway.
Right. I saw that one, but it's like 21 grand, right? There's one sitting on the floor.
Yeah. It fit you well, though.
And it does. I mean, I get both my feet on the ground. I feel very comfortable. The only part missing for me about that bike is the 21 grand. So I would, if I had that, I would have no problem in going in and buying it. That thing looks amazing. But then there's the 883. Is it the 883?
Iron 883, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, if I'm correct, Harley's kind of first steps into taking one of their platforms and blacking it out, stripping it down, making it so kind of a appeal to a more millennial rider, if you will.
Right.
And those bikes took off. I mean, people love those bikes, and they're great. They're great for mashing around town. You can take them on the highway. And again, you can do anything to them.
What size engine do they got in them?
So it's a
the 750. It's bigger.
No, it's a bigger. It's an 883.
So it is an 800.
Yeah, so it's about an 800. Yeah, 883. Yeah. But you can put a 1200 kit in those things, and with that size of a bike with a 1200 kit.
Ooh, now you're talking.
Yeah.
See, this is the problem with bikes. Handguns, bikes, dogs, and cars. I've been told I'm not allowed anymore. That's it. You've got enough in the house. You've got as many as you're allowed in the. But the trouble is, you can't stop. Like, I'm thinking, if I want to buy one, I just don't want to get rid of the one I've got.
You forgot tattoos.
Oh yeah, tattoos. But I have no raw room below my waist. There, we're done there. And I don't want everyone else to see it above the waist. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the event you have going on at Latest, which involves the Camaro Club and Harley Davidson. We're going to talk with James Dean about the Camaro Club. We've got lots more coming up in the show. This is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles, and it's a Sunday morning.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
I would like to thank you for being part of our little radio show. Visit Test Miles Facebook to find out more about fun facts. And also, don't forget, watch Coin 6 News. You can see my reports about cars on Coin.
Okay, today's fun fact is from 1967 to 1969, Chevrolet Camaros were purchased two ways, either a regular production option or a COPO, which is a central office purchasing order. Don Yanko of Canyonsburg, Pennsylvania, is largely credited for being the first to use the Chevy COPO system. And the COPO 9737 is exclusively for Yanko.
There you go. God, Jen, your history that you're learning is driving me crazy. Team Latest and Motor Cars and Bike Show Classics and Modern Cars is co-hosted by Latest and, of course, the Columbia River Camaro Club. 3rd of July is the big event in Gladstone to support the Randall Children's Hospital of Portland. How can you join in for the fun and listen and find out? Well, that's what we're going to tell you right now. James Dean joined us in the studio. as well now for this segment. You're from the Camaro Club. A lot of guys into Camaros in the area?
Yeah, we actually have quite a few women as well. Our club right now is roughly about 70 members. And
When I say guys, I always have to include women. Like I don't say dolls. Guys is everybody. So 70 members, and you probably got some classics. Do you have any C1s?
Absolutely. We have all generations. We do a monthly count with our members' rides with what generation count. The 5th generation Camaros, which came out in 2010, is really what kind of boosted the club membership back up again, got people interested in Camaros again. So it's a real dogfight for amount of 1st-gen Camaros versus the 5th-gen Camaros. But then we also have 2nd-gen, 3rd-gen, 4th-gen as well. No 6th-gens yet, though. We're hopefully someone will bring in one of those pretty soon.
I know that they only produced 300 of the convertible pearl whites in the C1. And I saw one the other day. It was just like, oh wow, that's pretty amazing collector's item. They jumped there, even though there was 5 years between the clubs, between the cars, when they changed cars. And we'll talk more about this in the last segment. But there was 5 years between changing of the models. Every year, quite significant things happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, actually, when they stopped production in 2002, that was 2010 was the next year. So it was 8 years lapse of no Camaros being produced.
Right.
So with the Transformers movie coming out with the concept car there, really got people excited and got Chevrolet to start producing those cars again.
So you guys are getting together, you're teaming up. Harley Davidson, the Camaro was kind of my first question was, it seems like an interesting marriage of motorcycles and cars, both American made, of course. But it seems like a lot of people who own Camaros also are into the bike world. And so you guys are having this event together down at Harley. So what's going to go on at the event?
Well, we're going to have car and bike show. There's going to be raffle. We're going to have a lot of vendors, pinstripers hanging out. Just people want to, ride it, don't hide it, run what you brung, bring them out. There's no point in keeping them in the garage. And I think it's just really a celebration of everything that burns gas and oil and American muscle, whether it's Harley Davidson or Camaro. These are the things that speak to us on a cellular level, that move our soul, when we turn that key and we hear the engine. And if one motorcycle's better and one car's better, like 100 is even better.
Right. and it's not necessarily just restricted to people who own Harleys or people who own Camaros. I mean, everybody should come down for this car show and bring whatever they have down to the show. I think that I love the idea of the fact of cars and bikes together. I've never seen anybody do that before. It's kind of a cool idea of doing sort of marriage of cars and bikes at the show and then bringing them down and having a look at them. And does it cost any money to enter?
Yeah, we have a $15 pre-registration fee and then $20 at the gate. So what we're trying to do is, of course, raise money for Children's Randall's Hospital. What we do is we collect toys throughout the year in cash and then purchase toys. And many of the car clubs in the Portland area, Vancouver area, will deliver those toys just before Christmas. Last year, the pile was absolutely enormous of toys and stuff that was given to those kids that are less fortunate and are in hospitals for sometimes years trying to get through their medical conditions.
I really love that. I mean, I love the idea of that too. Now, very much like Harley Davidson's, a lot of people customizing their Camaros too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I have a 2012 Camaro 2SS RS. I took it into the Portland Roadster Show. It's got underbody kits, cold air intake, hydrographics all over the engine compartments, all prettied up, custom exhaust, custom wheels, tires, lowered. I mean, yeah, absolutely. And with the 5th gens especially, I mean, there's just so many products out there to customize them and make them your own so they don't just look like every other 5th-gen Camaro on the road.
And the Camaros that will be turning up, presumably those that people have been working on in their garage to really do extra things to them to show them in their original condition and also to modify.
Yeah, there's definitely separate classes of people. There's the people that want their car to be 100% original or as close to as possible, and we have those members in the club. And then we have the ones that do the restoration mods, where they put newer suspension, disc brakes, new motors in old cars, and then everywhere in between. I mean, we don't limit anything in our club, and that was kind of one of the nice things about the Columbia River Camaro Club is you can have a V6 stock Camaro that you just like to drive, and you're more than welcome to be part of our club and do our runs and do our shows, or you can have a $100,000 totally original restored 67 convertible, and we try not to. Some of the clubs out there can be, you have to have a special edition or limited numbers or, a rare car. And we're not that way. We're more about community, people, get-togethers.
It's a social club of people who actually also just really enjoy the things too. Now, Richard, there are going to be a lot of custom Harleys there too. I mean, obviously, it's one of the things that Harley guys love to do, but the Harley guys that are going to show up to the show, they're going to have their special bikes as well.
I imagine that you'll see a little bit of everything from light customs to full crazy customs. Nice mix.
I really want the spring handlebars, by the way, on my bike. I think we
can make it happen.
That's
you know where to go.
That's the coolest thing. And then when you get together, presumably there's going to be food and the raffles and the prizes and stuff. So not only do you raise money for the hospital, you get to come and show off your great vehicle, but you could walk away with some stuff. Do we know off the top of our heads what sort of things that are going to get given away?
Well, we have a lot of really great trophies that have been custom made for different categories, best in show, that type of thing. You might have a better idea of the raffle stuff.
Yeah, well, for one of the things, so being a first annual event, what we did with the trophies, which a lot of clubs will end up getting, is the niche. They'll say, okay, you have a trophy for muscle car or 50s or 30s or 40s. So we're going to leave it open and see what people bring out, and that way you're not sitting there with 5 trophies going to one car, because only one car really fits those categories.
Right.
So we're going to try and mix it up, and any car or bike that's deserving of a trophy should hopefully get one. I mean, we've got 30 trophies. We're hoping we're going to be around 100 to 150 vehicles total. So the odds of getting a trophy is not too bad.
1 in 5.
Yeah.
A 1 in 5 chance. You see, there you go. I like that. I like those odds. Jen's got all her. She had her Camaro fix yesterday, so she could bring it down.
I am. I'm working on mine. My dad's bringing his Harley. You're going, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm bringing my
Captain America.
I'll be showing up as Captain America. There, I would you like to call me Captain Ascot, don't
yes, you? Captain Ascot.
My old Captain America, and we'll probably have a good time. When we come back in the next half of the show, we're going to talk a little bit about the Camaro Club again, and we're going to find out what Ryan's been testing on some vehicles, because he's our official product tester. I've got some products, by the way, in the back of my garage I want you to test. Nothing to do with cars. This is Test Miles. It's Sunday morning. I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles from our Test Miles studio, America's Car Radio Show. We would like to thank you for being part of the Automotive Nation. For more fun facts about cars, please don't forget to go to TestMiles.com.
Last fun fact of the day, the first pace car for the Indianapolis 500 was in 1911 and was the Stuttgart Dayton.
Excellent. Richard Jones, James Dean here. We're talking about the Camaro show, the Harley-Davidson show, which is going on at Latest Harley-Davidson on July 3rd. Lots of people have been showing up. It's all in the name of charity, raising money for Randall's Children's Hospital. Going to buy toys for all the kids. You can come out. There's raffles. There is going to be lots of vendors on site and a great car show, a great bike show. What more could you possibly want on the July 3rd weekend? This, of course, going to be a whole bunch of fun. I have a party the night before, so I'm going to have to try and stay as sober as I possibly can so I don't have too much of a hangover that day. Let's talk a little bit about the Camaro Club. We started off, James, talking about the club a little bit. So you have about 70 members, and you have cars C1 through C6, so the C1 generation through C6. I was interested. I just did a piece on this for a national TV network on the history of the Camaro, history of these cars. and you can look at some of the presidents and some of the things like Macintosh computer that were released along the times these cars were done. The ages of these cars. And what was happening in the world at that time. It's truly a part of American history, a part of American growing up. And it really is now the formula of the muscle car. Now they've put it on the same platform as the ATS, the Cadillac, and they've lightened it up. I know that they were telling me 390 pounds went even down to the stitching on the latest generation of the car. So they looked at the thread that they used in the seats to keep them light. But it's always been, even though it's a muscle car, it's always been quite a nimble car, hasn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's always been a nimble car, but I think that's definitely something with when the 5th gens came out, that suspension and handling and ride is definitely part of the car now, not just muscle and power, not just speed.
Yeah, and handling the car is the most important thing as well, too, because although I'm slightly partial to the Challenger, they're great cars as long as you go in a straight line. If you want to turn a corner, that's when it starts to get really difficult.
Yes.
Whereas the Camaro does the corners really, really well. And especially, a manual version of that vehicle it's really hard not to spin the tires out. I mean, all right, so I put it in race mode all the time, or I take off traction control. That's just the kind of guy I am. But even so, pulling, even letting the clutch out each time the wheels spin, you can't pull it out of a parking lot without making those wheels spin. That's just the way the car is, right?
Absolutely. I've got a 6-speed manual myself. And after driving it for a while, I felt like, man, this thing doesn't have the power that it once did. Well, once you turn off all that electronic controlled stuff,
right,
then you can't control that car. I was getting on 84 and it was hard to grab traction.
Right. My biggest fear is it's one of those cars where you go from a 55 to a 45 and you just can't do it. I mean, there's got to be a thing. It should say except Camaro, because you can't do it. You just can't go that. I mean, even in the car in like 4th gear, down at 45 miles an hour, it just seems like you need to be in 3rd. It's kind of one of those cars. What sort of events go on for you outside of what we're doing on July 3rd at latest? What sort of events do you do for the rest of the year?
So with the Camaro Club, we do lots of events. I mean, of course, we do. We'll get to do get-togethers for car shows, other vendors' car shows, other groups' car shows. We do a lot of weekend drives. We'll go up to the backside of Mount St. Helens. We've got a ride going down to Crater Lake. We also do social events. We do bowling challenges. Sometimes it's not about cars. We do bowling challenges. We do miniature golf, barbecues. And then one of our events coming up here next month is we'll be doing Camaros in the Sand, which is up at Ocean Shores, Washington, where we'll spend 3 days there. Most of the club goes up there. We'll rent some places and just kind of do a weekend social gathering. We'll
do camping on the beach stuff?
No, we usually stay in the hotels or rent houses up there.
Good, and then, I'm not a good camper.
Yeah, me either. I'm too old for that. I prefer a nice soft bed and a warm shower.
Roughing it to me is no cable TV. I have to tell you, I'm kind of one of those guys. I like to look mean and tough as Captain America on my Harley, but I'm definitely one for a nice warm sheets every night. So if you want to be a member of the club?
So if you want to be a member of the club, ColumbiaRiverCamaroClub.com. There's an application there to fill out. It's really open to anybody. Even if you don't have a Camaro, if you're just a Camaro enthusiast and want to be part of a group, you're welcome. We have a couple members that have Camaros that are still being restored or not drivable, and they come out with their other cars to do our car runs and be part of the club. So,
I know that some clubs aren't as forgiving as that. You have to actually own.
Yeah, and that's what we don't take ourselves too seriously. Like I said, this is really more of a social club.
Right.
That, like I said, we're Camaro enthusiasts.
Right.
So that's really all you need. The annual fee is $25. It's pretty minimal. We meet the first Tuesday of every month over at Delta Park Elmers. People usually show up around 6:30. Meeting starts at 7:30, and we try and wrap it up. No, PM. No, PM, and we try and get it wrapped up within an hour.
My heartbeat skipped a beat, just for a second there. I was thinking that was kind of early in the morning. That sounds like fun. So, Rich, last question for you is tell us again the event, the time, the place where we need to be on July 3rd.
So it's going to be July 3rd over at Team Latest Motors in Gladstone. Registration starts at
I think we start at 10, but people will start probably showing up at 8 o'clock. And car clubs, they tend to get there early, want best parking. And parking could be kind of limited. So if you want to be there, I mean, I would say be there by 10 o'clock.
All right. You know, we're all going, right? The whole Test Miles team is going to show up there, so it's going to be a bunch of fun. Thanks, guys, for being on the show. We're looking forward to that. That's next weekend, of course, coming up. We're here 24/7 at testmiles.com. You can see all the latest. I got some big news, too. I'm going to be driving the best road trip in America. I'm doing Mini Texas States this year. We're going to start in Atlanta, drive all the way up over the top of America down to Palm Springs. That's going to be 3 weeks where we're going to be on the road with the show, but that's coming up. More to tell you at testmiles.com. I'm Nick Miles. See you next week.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.